Ay, okay.
Nakapin natin. Ito naman yung nakapin.
Test 1, 2, 3. Test.
Thank you. Hello and good evening, everyone. And a very warm welcome to what promises to be a very rewarding session for all of us and a rewarding end of the day. I'm Ajay Govind, and on behalf of the Asian Disaster Reduction and Response Network and SEEDS, I welcome all of you to this evening. The Asia Pacific Local Leaders Forum for Disaster Resilience is an event that celebrates the remarkable contributions of local champions across the Asia Pacific region and is part of our collective efforts to strengthen disaster resilience at the community level. The ALL4DR is led by ADRRN's localization hub, SEEDS. Our collective aim is to build a platform that fosters connections between local leaders, national authorities, and international bodies to promote collaborative efforts in disaster resilience. Our theme today, recognizing, linking, and enhancing the power of local leadership, reflects our commitment to recognizing those who work tirelessly to build safer and more resilient communities. Through this event, we acknowledge the vital role of local leadership in disaster risk reduction, and we are here to support, connect, and amplify their efforts for greater regional impact. Before we begin, just a quick note that there will be photos and videos that are taken throughout the event. We will use any of these images only for documentation purposes. If you're not comfortable being photographed, please take a seat in the middle rows on the left-hand side of the room. Thanks. I take it that everyone's okay to be photographed. Great. To officially begin this event, I would like to invite Mr. Takeshi Komino, Vice President of ADRRN, for a welcome address and to introduce a short film, Local Leadership in Action, which showcases the outstanding efforts of some local champions in the region. Mr. Takeshi.
By the way, AJ, left-hand side of the room is that side or that side? That side of the room. If you don't want to be photographed, that side. Okay. So everyone, welcome. My name is Takeshi Komino. I serve as Vice President to ADRN, and I would like to extend our warm welcome to tonight's event. Thank you for all the local leaders who gathered today. Congratulations for all that you have done. We also like to highlight the presence of dignitaries with us today. Ms. Cheryl Leal, who is the Director of Policy and Planning of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources of the Government of the Philippines. Thank you for being with us. Yes. Ms. Adek Triana Yudaswari, who's the Minister Counselor of the Embassy of Indonesia in the Philippines. Thank you for being with us. And Ms. Sunisa Ho of UNDRR. Yes, thank you very much for being with us today. This event, Local Leaders for Disaster Reduction, is a place where very important for ADRN. It's probably one of the highlights of the year for ADRN. This is a place where we do recognition of the local leaders for their achievement and also get inspiration for their leadership and their work. These local leaders are the ones who make sure that the hazard don't become disasters in where they are. Without them, I think our world will be very much facing with the damage and loss all over. The local leaders ensure that the local solutions for resilience are being implemented. So therefore, the work that you do inspires all. We would like to also show our commitment as ADRN and CSO stakeholders here for a call for collective effort. Let's all learn from the fantastic work that they have devoted their life to, recognize their leadership, and also recognize and support their leadership. At the end of the day, at ADRN, we believe resilience is a movement. It's a movement. It's beyond any project. So congratulations to all the local leaders who will be awarded today. There are those local leaders who couldn't be here with us today, but we hope that you get also inspiration of their work through the video that we will show you. So thank you very much and enjoy.
In the face of increasing disasters, resilience is more than a concept. It is a reality lived by communities across Asia and the Pacific. From flood-prone areas to remote mountains, local leaders are stepping up to protect their communities, showing us that resilience thrives when those closest to the challenges take the lead. Innovation is at the heart of their efforts. Whether mobilizing volunteerism or ensuring that persons with disabilities are included in disaster preparedness, these leaders are transforming how we respond to crises. Inclusion is key to true resilience. Across the region, leaders are advocating for marginalized groups. They work tirelessly so that every voice contributes to shaping safer, more sustainable communities. Education also plays a critical role in empowering communities to adapt to the challenges of climate change. From teaching flood preparedness to embracing nature-based solutions like mangrove planting, these local leaders are turning knowledge into action. They remind us that resilience is built through collaboration, innovation, and inclusion. They inspire us to act, proving that every person has a role in creating a stronger future, and that the future of disaster resilience depends on our ability to lift up every voice and harness the power of local leadership.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Moving on from those very powerful, inspiring visuals, it's now time to meet our inspiring champions. The first champion you will meet today has been pivotal in including people with disabilities in disaster preparedness and response. Please put your hands together for Ms. Maria Fe Maravillas from the Philippines. Ms. Maria is accompanied by her personal assistant, Ms. Hilda. Here we have a short video about Mrs. Maravilla's work.
Meet Maria Fe Maravillas, a champion for persons with disabilities in the Philippines. At 16, Maria was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. Maria's mission? Advocating for the rights of persons with disabilities. For several years, Maria has worked tirelessly for inclusion and accessibility. She has led the creation of disability inclusive programs, livelihood training, and advocating for 1% budget allocation for PWDs in local government. She pioneered the Accessible Transportation Mobile Service, or ATRANS. ATRANS transformed how communities include people with disabilities in disaster preparedness and response. We honor Maria, a true champion proving that strength lies in the will to make change.
To felicitate Ms. Maria Fe Maravillas, I would like to request Ms. Ade Triana Yudaswari, Minister Counselor, Indonesian Embassy, to please felicitate the local champion. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. And may we now request Ms. Maria Fe to share her own inspiring journey with us. Can we have a big round of applause, please?
Hello. So good afternoon, everyone.
No.
Living in a third world country where accessibility is more of a luxury rather than a necessity. And having a disability is like facing a hazard, an impending disaster every day of our lives. It's very difficult, sometimes frustrating, yet challenging. At the age of 16, I was diagnosed to have JRA, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, which is a debilitating autoimmune progressive illness that affects the nerves and limits the mobility of a person. So progressive that after college, I was bedridden for 5 years. But thanks to therapy, I was able to sit on a wheelchair again. But I was a wheelchair user since then. I never realized how important an accessible environment is until I did advocacy work for persons with disabilities. The simplest task of going to meetings, participating in trainings, attending forums on a wheelchair seems like monumental task for me. Traveling from one area to another without an accessible transportation added another layer of difficulty for me, a hazard for persons with mobility concerns. But these challenges motivated our group, the Las Piñas Persons with Disability Federation, to do our advocacy work for promoting the rights of persons with disabilities and ensuring their full and active participation in the community. But then mobility always poses a problem for our participation. And sometimes it puts our lives on risk. Disability should not be a problem. Inaccessibility is. So in our end, as a group of persons with disabilities, I believe that we have to do our part in raising our voices in the communities. And I would like to thank the Center for Disaster Preparedness for challenging the Las Piñas Person with Disability Federation to propose or submit a proposal to the Innovation Academy in order to fulfill our elusive dream of having an accessible transportation. And God give us that courage to make it a reality by creating an accessible transportation mobile service that would be for persons with mobility impairments, especially during times of disasters and emergencies, where we are always left behind. Thank you, CDP, to all the sponsors of the Innovation Academy, to our LGU de Las Piñas City, to our partner community, the Barangay Pamplona 1, to all persons with disabilities who were consulted and heard during our time of testings and consultations, to our local DRRM, for all the support given to us and for giving us this golden opportunity to create the ATRAMs. or the accessible transportation mobile service at the community level. Our journey towards the ATRAMs was never easy. We experienced a lot of pivots along the way, from choosing what vehicle to modify, from the e-trike to the golf cart, to the multi-cabs, and later on the L300 vans, just to be able to show the community and the government that it can be done, that we can modify transportations and make it accessible. Scheduling consultations for persons with different disabilities also pose a problem for us because also of mobility. And we have to consult every type of disability so that they will be heard and that they will be the one to decide what is an accessible transportation, what is safe, and what is ergonomic. Also, another problem was that accessible equipments were not available in the market. So our technical mentor had to modify these equipments in order to fit or to address the needs of persons with disabilities. We also encountered a lot of red flags along the way in making the different accessibilities be approved by different agencies of the government. Also, there are some problems in collaborations with the government, with the local DRRM, especially in ensuring that the ATRAMs will be included in the budget plan sessions. As local actors, we have to lead the way. We have to think out of the box. We have to do our very best in order to be included and be heard. Our disability led us to our inclusivity. And I think embracing diversity is the only way that we can effectively work together. And unless all people will have a chance to participate regardless of our vulnerabilities, then true resilience in DRRM will not be achieved. So the motto that no one will be left behind can only be achieved if everyone will be heard, if everyone will take part, will play a role, whether big or small, in the communities, then true resilience in DRR will truly happen. And I think encouraging local leaders to have that voice, to get out of the box, to have that courage to address your own true problems in the communities and partner with the government, but led the way towards change, then that's the time we will truly do great things. For us, our home in Las Piñas, we thank you, for we truly believe together we can create endless possibilities. Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Thank you so much. And indeed, thank you for making an elusive dream and leading the way to make it come alive. Our next champion has led the development of an inclusive disaster preparedness educational park that addresses the needs of people with psychosocial disabilities. Please, a big round of applause for Ms. Yustina Vardani from Indonesia. We'll have a short video about Ms. Vardani's work.
Meet Yustina Vardani, a champion for mental health and disaster safety in Indonesia. Yustina has dedicated her life to building resilience in her earthquake, volcanic eruption, and flood-prone village. Her work recognizes that true community preparedness must include those with psychosocial disabilities. Her groundbreaking initiative is an inclusive disaster preparedness educational park. Taksi Kencana is an open space where community collectively plans, harvests, and learns. Persons with disabilities and their caregivers find a place to heal and prepare for future disasters. Let us celebrate Yustina Vardani, who teaches us that risks are many, but preparedness is key.
I would like to request Ms. Cheryl Lial, Director of Policy and Planning from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, to felicitate Ms. Yustina Vardani. Can we have a big round of applause, please? Thank you, Ms. Lial. I would now like to request Ms. Vardani to share a few words, and Ms. Septiana Sintori would translate for Ms. Vardani.
Selamat petang kepada Bapak dan Ibu semuanya.
Good evening for all guests here.
Nama saya Yustina Vardani dari kelompok Swabantu Luhur Jiwo dari Kelurahan Sidoluhur, Yogyakarta, Indonesia.
I'm Yustina Vardani from Luhur Jiwo Self-Help Group from Sidoluhur Village, Indonesia.
Di kelompok Swabantu Luhur Jiwo, saya sebagai kader kesehatan jiwa dan sekaligus menjadi caregiver dari seorang anak disabilitas psikososial.
In the Luhur Jiwo Self-Help Group, I serve as mental health volunteers and also a caregiver for my son with disability, psychosocial disability.
Mempunyai anak disabilitas psikososial, kami yakin bahwa mereka bisa pulih dan berdaya.
Having a son with psychosocial disabilities make us believe that people with psychosocial disabilities can recover and empowered.
Yang kita butuhkan adalah penerimaan dan penghilangan stigma dari seluruh kalangan masyarakat satu desa, sehingga ODDP ataupun disabilitas psikososial dan keluarga bisa berdaya.
The important thing is to eliminate stigma for the people with the psychosocial disability and their family, and it needs a village to eliminate that.
Begitupun dengan program pengurangan risiko bencana untuk mereka.
Similarly with the disaster risk reduction, it also takes a village to be resilient.
Kelompok Swabantu Luhur Jiwo merupakan kelompok yang berfungsi sarana menjembatani antaranya pemulihan dengan rehabilitasi sosial bagi disabilitas psikososial.
Luhur Jiwo Self-Help Group serve as a platform for bridging recovery and social rehabilitation for the individual with psychosocial disabilities.
Kita juga membantu mempersiapkan keluarga-keluarga ini untuk mendampingi mereka dan mempersiapkan psikologis mereka, juga tentang sisi sosial dari keluarga tersebut.
We are helping as well as to support and strengthen the social and psychological aspect.
Kami juga memiliki peranan penting dalam peningkatan pengetahuan tentang psikologi sosial, tentang kesehatan jiwanya, tentang deteksi dini, tentang penanganan kekambuhan, dan yang paling penting adalah tentang pendampingan kami tentang produktivitas.
Our group plays an important role in increasing knowledge about psychosocial disabilities, which include mental health, early detection, relapse management, and also support for productivity.
Di tahun 2023, kami mendapatkan kesempatan untuk pengembangan inovasi yang berupa Taman Edukasi Inklusi Kesiapsiagaan Bencana, atau kami sebut dengan Taksi Kencana, dengan dukungan penuh dari Yakum Emergency Unit.
In 2023, we have the opportunity to develop the innovation of disaster preparedness inclusive education park or Taksi Kencana with support from Yakum Emergency Unit.
Tujuan dari kegiatan ini adalah mempersiapkan dalam kesiapsiagaan bencana untuk mereka dan pengurangan risiko bencana di saat ada bencana.
This activity aims to improve disaster preparedness and risk reduction for people with psychosocial disabilities.
Kegiatan kami meliputi edukasi, simulasi tentang kebencanaan, dan juga pengolahan lahan pertanian yang menjadi kegiatan peningkatan ekonomi dari kelompok kami.
The activities include disaster education, simulation, and agricultural land management, which also serve as a generating income activity.
Dan kegiatan di taman tersebut, tujuan kami adalah untuk sedikit demi sedikit menghilangkan stigma dari masyarakat dan masyarakat bisa menerima mereka dengan sepenuhnya.
This activity simultaneously work to reduce the negative stigma in society toward people with psychosocial disabilities and other at-risk group.
Kegiatan produktif yang saat ini kita miliki bersama itu merupakan satu faktor penting untuk memastikan dukungan yang berkelanjutan dari pemerintah kelurahan, dari para pengusaha lokal untuk menjadikan kegiatan kami keberlanjutan.
These productive activities we currently have together are important in ensuring ongoing support from village government and also local entrepreneurs so that it's sustainable.
Kegiatan tersebut juga menjadi wadah yang bermakna untuk mencegah kekambuhan mereka.
It's also serving as a meaningful platform to prevent relapse.
Dan kelompok Swaban Dulur Jiwo adalah merupakan suatu tempat untuk belajar dari psikososial dan keluarganya bersama-sama untuk saling memberi penguatan untuk meningkatkan penerimaan diri dan juga sosial.
Luhur Jiwa self-help group serve as a space for collective learning for individuals with psychosocial disabilities and their family, fostering mutual support to enhance self-acceptance and social inclusion.
Di dalam kegiatan ini, sehingga disabilitas psikososial bisa pulih, tangguh, dan berdaya,
so that people with psychosocial disability can recover, become resilient, and empowered.
Untuk mewujudkan aksi iklim dan pengurangan risiko bencana yang inklusif, perlu adanya pelibatan bermakna dari ODDP, sehingga ODDP dapat mandiri dan tidak tertinggal.
Effort to realize inclusive climate action and disaster risk reduction require meaningful involvement from people with psychosocial disability so that they can be independent and not left behind.
Terima kasih kami kepada Yakum Emergency Unit yang telah mendampingi kami, dan terima kasih kami kepada Dewan Juri yang telah memilih kelompok Duarjiwo masuk nominator.
Thank you for Yakum Emergency Unit and thank you for the committee for this occasion.
Demikian dari Swabantu Duarjiwo, terima kasih.
That's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you. That it takes a village to recognize and then lead the way to change and to solve a problem quite captures the theme of this evening. Moving on, the next champion that we're going to meet is Mr. Viv Sajian, who's from India, and he led the creation of a green belt to build a natural defense against storms and to improve water quality in the region. Can we have a short video? Can we have a round of applause for Mr. Sajian?
Meet Viv Sajian, a champion of using nature-based solutions to protect an island village in India. Sajian led the creation of a green belt, planting 75,000 Cosalina trees to safeguard the coastline from erosion and to act as a barrier against tsunami waves. This was part of the village council's comprehensive approach to disaster risk reduction. Under his guidance, the community planted and conserved mangroves, creating a natural defense against storms and improving water quality. The village is a key participant in the Tsunami Ready program, enhancing preparedness and training local volunteers for rapid response in emergencies. We salute this creative leader who guided his community on the path to resilience.
I would like to request Ms. Sunisa Ho, Associate Program Management Officer and Making Cities Resilient 2030 focal point for Asia Pacific, to felicitate our local champion, Mr. Sajian. We have a round of applause, please. Thank you, Ms. Ho. I would now like to request Mr. Sajian to tell us more about his inspiring work, and Ms. Amrita Kolangard is going to translate for Mr. Sajian. Thank you.
ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട യോഗാധ്യക്ഷൻ, വേദിയിലും സദസ്സിലുമുള്ള വിശിഷ്ട വ്യക്തിത്വങ്ങളെ, എല്ലാവർക്കും എൻ്റെ വിനീതമായ നമസ്കാരം.
Respected chair, dignitaries, and my fellow champions on the dais, good evening to all of you.
ഇന്ത്യയിലെ കേരള സംസ്ഥാനത്തെ കാസർഗോഡ് ജില്ലയിലെ ചെറിയ തീരദേശ പഞ്ചായത്തായ വലിയപറമ്പ ഗ്രാമപഞ്ചായത്തിന്റെ പ്രസിഡന്റാണ് ഞാൻ.
He is a president of Balera Panchayat, which is situated in Kerala.
ഇതുപോലെ അന്താരാഷ്ട്ര കോൺഫറൻസിൽ ലോക്കൽ ചാമ്പ്യൻ എന്ന അംഗീകാരം ഏറ്റുവാങ്ങി സംസാരിക്കാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞത് എൻ്റെ ജീവിതത്തിലെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ നേട്ടമായി ഞാൻ കാണുകയാണ്.
He is truly honored and thankful to everyone for acquiring the local championship award.
ഈ അവസരം ഒരുക്കിത്തന്ന ADRRN സീഡ്സ് നെറ്റ്വർക്കിന് ഞാൻ പ്രതിദാനം ചെയ്യുന്ന വലിയപറമ്പ ഗ്രാമപഞ്ചായത്തിന് വേണ്ടി പ്രത്യേക നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുകയാണ്.
He is truly honored and thankful to ADRRN and SEEDS for selecting for this position.
പടിഞ്ഞാറ് അറബിക്കടലും കിഴക്ക് കൗവായി കായലും അതിരിടുന്ന 24 കിലോമീറ്റർ നീളവും കൂടിയ വീതി 500 മീറ്ററും കുറഞ്ഞ വീതി 35 മീറ്ററുമുള്ള അനുദിനം തീരശോഷണം സംഭവിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന വലിയപറമ്പ് പഞ്ചായത്തിന്റെ സുരക്ഷയ്ക്കായി കടൽ തീരത്തിനൊരു ഹരിത കവചം എന്ന പദ്ധതിയിലൂടെ തൊഴിലുറപ്പ് പദ്ധതിയിൽ 75,000 കാറ്റാടി തൈകൾ വെച്ചുപിടിപ്പിക്കുകയും
Valiyaparambu Panchayat is a coastal island sandwiched between Kawai backwaters and Arabian Sea, having a length of 24 kilometers and width of around 500 meter to 34 meter. And for addressing the issues of coastal erosion, they have created a green belt by planting around 75,000 casuarina and for preventing the coastal erosion.
കടലോരത്ത് മണൽത്തിട്ട സൃഷ്ടിച്ച് കയർപ്പു വസ്ത്രം വിരിച്ച് അടമ്പാൻ വള്ളി എന്ന സസ്യം വെച്ച് പിടിപ്പിച്ചും മറുതീരത്ത് കണ്ടലോരം പദ്ധതിയിലൂടെ വിവിധ ഇനം കണ്ടൽ ചെടികൾ വെച്ച് പിടിപ്പിക്കുകയും ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്.
And for the coastal protection, they have created seawall seawall also created by using sand, which is strengthened by using coir geotextile. And they have planted Adampan plant, which is a local plant seen in most of the coastal areas of Kerala, which have high root penetrating power, and they are able to hold the soil tightly.
സാംക്രമിക രോഗങ്ങളെ തടയുന്നതിനായി മുഴുവൻ വീടുകളിലും സോക്ക് പിറ്റുകൾ നിർമ്മിച്ചു. ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ സോക്ക് പിറ്റുകൾ നിർമ്മിച്ചതും ഞങ്ങളുടെ പഞ്ചായത്തിലാണ്.
In order to address solid waste management and to eradicate communicable diseases, there were installed sock pits in every household, which is the first kind of panchayat in India.
ഐക്യരാഷ്ട്ര സംഘടനയുടെ ഭാഗമായി യുനെസ്കോ നടത്തുന്ന സുനാമി റെഡി പദ്ധതിയിലും വലിയപറമ്പ് പഞ്ചായത്തിനെ തിരഞ്ഞെടുക്കുകയും ഇതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് മോക്ക് ഡ്രില്ലുകളും ദുരന്ത നിവാരണ സേനയും നമ്മുടെ 13 വാർഡിലും പഞ്ചായത്ത് രൂപീകരിച്ചു.
Valiyaparambu Panchayat is also selected to implement Tsunami Ready program by UNESCO. As part of this program, they have conducted several mock drills and they have created a disaster response team for combating disaster situation of the Panchayat.
നാം ഇന്ന് എന്തു ചെയ്യുന്നു എന്നതിനെ ആശ്രയിച്ചിരിക്കും നമ്മുടെ ഭാവി എന്ന മഹാത്മാഗാന്ധിയുടെ വാക്കുകളെ ഓർത്തുകൊണ്ട് ഈ അംഗീകാരത്തിനായി എന്നെ തെരഞ്ഞെടുത്തതിന് നമ്മുടെ പഞ്ചായത്തിന്റെയും എന്റെയും പ്രത്യേക നന്ദി ബഹുമാന്യരെ എല്ലാവരെയും അറിയിക്കുകയാണ്.
He is highlighting the famous quote of Mahatma Gandhi. Our future depends on what we do today, and let us continue to work together to make a meaningful, sustainable India. Thank you all.
നന്ദി, സ്നേഹം.
Thank you all for choosing me as a local champion. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Amrita. Thank you, Sister Jeevan. Okay, moving on, we now move to another local champion, Miss Zenith Balera from the Philippines, who has been a champion of empowering indigenous people to join conversations around disaster risk reduction. Let's watch a short video about Ms. Zenith's work.
Meet Zenith Balera, a champion empowering indigenous people in the Philippines. Zenith led the creation of the House of Healing. This initiative uses indigenous knowledge about urban medicine to promote health and well-being. It also serves as a hub for disaster risk reduction. Under Zenith's leadership, indigenous women have stepped into roles as healers and protectors. We congratulate this innovative leader for showing that even in the face of disaster, resilience and unity can be reached.
I would now like to request Dr. Amod Mani Dikshit, Chairperson ADRRN, to felicitate Ms. Zenith Balera. Thank you, Dr. Amod. I would now like to request Ms. Zenith to share a few words about her inspiring journey with us.
Hello, good evening to the honorable heads of the government offices, fellow champions, and distinguished guests. It is a great honor to stand before you tonight. I am truly honored, grateful to be recognized as one advocate for disaster resilience. I want to express my sincere thanks to the organizer of the Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction and the Center for Disaster Preparedness for nominating me. This recognition is not just mine. It belongs to the Taduray community of South Upi, Maguindanao, and to be a woman of Pandan Tri-People Women Organizations who have journeyed with me in our pursuit to resilience, unity, and empowerment together. We have faced many challenges from natural disaster to the everyday struggles of living in remote area with limited access to healthcare services. But despite this trial, we found the strength to rise, establish a future where we not only survive but are resilient. My journey began in Barangay Pandan, where I witnessed the deep knowledge embedded in our traditional practices passed down to the next generation and the remarkable strength of our women. I grew up in Taduray tribe, and I vividly remember how our tribal herbal medicines and healing tradition provided comfort and hope for families during illness. One story that stand out in when my own family relied on these traditional practices to treat a relative with health problem. An experience that strengthened my belief in the power of our indigenous knowledge. To deep reconnection to my roots inspired to me to lead the Pandan Tri-People Women's Organization with the help of MTWRC, where one of our proudest achievement in the creation of Lawi Fatinanaan, or the House of Healing, supported by the Center for Disaster Preparedness to the Innovation Academy. This initiative was born out of necessity when our community realized the importance of preserving our traditional knowledge while addressing modern challenges such as disaster preparedness and climate change. I dedicate this recognition to the brave women who stood with me, using their skills and wisdom to save lives and create lasting change in our community. This journey has not been easy. It requires dedication, sacrifice, and the courage to step outside our comfort zones. But through it all, I learned that empowering others in the case to build a resilient community. When we equip women, indigenous peoples, and the most vulnerable among us with the tools to protect themselves, we are not only saving lives, we are spreading hope for future generations. In the community I serve, I compose of indigenous, Muslim, and Christian people. We face many challenges: economic hardship, floods, and the constant threat of climate change and security risks due conflict. Yet time and again, I have witnessed the unshakable resilience of indigenous women. Through our service of the House of Healing,
We provide aid during disasters such as the Serb flooding in 2022 that destroyed the properties and livelihood of community. But beyond immediate relief, we have created a space of unity and resilience, ensuring that our mission extends not just to our town, but also to neighboring communities. To my fellow local leaders working for climate action and disaster risk reduction, my message is this: even in the most remote areas or with limited healthcare services, we have the power to bring out meaningful change. Our communities possess rich knowledge, strength, and determination to overcome and adapt to the challenges we face. Let us continue to work together, recognizing that through cooperation and shared goals, we can build a more resilient community and sustainable, secure future for all. As I accept this honor today, I do so with a renewed responsibility to continue fighting for disaster resilience and the well-being of marginalized communities. The fight is far from over, but with the support of platforms like this, I believe we can inspire more individuals and communities to take action. Once again, thank you for this remarkable recognition. I look forward to working with all of you. I build a future where no one is left behind, where every community is empowered, capable, and resilient in the face of disaster. Maraming salamat. Piobagi Muyag.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Zenith. Once again, congratulations to all the local champions who have been awarded today. Your work is truly inspiring. We're also very fortunate to have prominent leaders of the disaster risk reduction sector with us today, who will now share their perspectives on local leadership and disaster resilience. I would like to first invite Ms. Ade Triana Yudaswari to the dais to share a few words.
Thanks, Ajay. Mr. Takashi Omino, the Vice President of ADRRN, not here. Oh, hi. Dr. Amut, and Madam Cherry Louis Leal. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Very good evening to you all. On behalf of my head of delegation, Mr. Raditya Jati, who's supposed to be here, but he can't because should be in Malacanang. It is a great honor and pleasure to me to be here. Let me express my congratulations to all the champions and highly appreciate to the ADRRN, SEEDS, and UNDRR for managing and organize this very important event this evening. To the champions, thank you for your hard work and dedication. We value your contribution to the resilience sustainability. As in 2023, ASEAN leaders recognize resilience sustainability by issue declaration. We cannot avoid disaster, but we have to live with it. I believe people-centered is the foundation of disaster risk reduction, but not only that, it's also an integral part of collaborative science and technology, infrastructure, and government political will included that. let us learn from the champions and recognize the leadership of what they have been done. Let me quote only I didn't ignore the other champions, but I really amazed by Miss Maria. So let me quote what Miss Maria said. I could not agree more. Disability is not the problem. Inaccessibility is. True resilience is when no one left behind. We live in interconnected global world. So we let us hand in hand together collaborative in resilience sustainability. Everyone has their own part in this achieving of the sustainability of the resilience sustainability. Finally, I would like to thanks once again to the champions and to the ADR and UNDRR and SIDS. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Yudhashwari. And I would now like to welcome Ms. Cheryl Lial to share her thoughts with us.
Mr. Takeshi Kimono, ADRRN President, Dr. Amod Mani Dixit, the ADRRN Chairperson, Ms. Sunisa Ho of UNDRR, Ms. Adek Yudhaswari of the Indonesian Foreign Affairs, esteemed local champions and leaders, distinguished guests, and partners from the civil society organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On behalf of the co-chair of the 2024 Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction, Honorable Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga, the Secretary of the Philippines Department of Environment and Natural Resources, it is an honor and privilege to join you as we celebrate the spirit of local leadership for resilience. Disaster risk and climate change increasingly impacts our small islands, communities, ecosystems, and natural resources. It is worth noting, however, that Asia-Pacific is also expected to be the fastest growing region in the global economy. The 2024 APM-CDRR provides an opportunity to leverage locally grounded experiences, practical solutions, innovations toward inclusive and risk-informed investments, integrated and locally contextualized disaster risk reduction strategies. And I would like, of course, to congratulate and thank our local champions, the men and women we are honoring today for their invaluable contributions to enhancing community resilience through adaptive local leadership. You are indeed an inspiration to all of us. We also commend the Asian Disaster Reduction and Response Network for this meaningful initiative in recognizing local leaders in disaster risk reduction agenda. May this event and the local champions we are honoring tonight will continue to inspire us as we amplify small voices, transform adversity to opportunity, foster stronger linkages and partnerships, and empower vulnerable communities towards resilience and sustainable development. Thank you once again, and mabuhay.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lial, for sharing those reflections. And now I would like to invite Ms. Sunisa Ho to share her thoughts.
I promise that will be the shortest one. And thank you very much. And Yustina here. So this is my truly an honor to be with you here today. On behalf of the Special Representative and Secretary General of UNDRR, Mr. Kamal Kishore. So this is a very great honor and also like to celebrate the remarkable individuals that who have demonstrated unwavering dedication to build stronger, safer communities and also to face off the disaster. So when we're talking about the midterm review of Sendai framework, there's also the list of examples that talking about the strengthening local governance and the promoting the local ownership, or even the aligned local and global actions, and also the inclusive DR governance, which today that I see all of them like from the distinguished and also like the leadership on this stage. So therefore, it's very important to recognize the diverse voice of represent that among these leaders, like women's, youth, person with disabilities, and also like the members of marginalized group, that to show that the roles of CSO, the importance of the community-led initiative, or even the inclusion of person with disabilities. So all of them, they are part of society that everything that's met. And also fostering the twin inclusive and also resilient strategy. So to all of you, to all of the champion to be here today, well, your effort and your leadership, that I mean it, it's really important. And as a person who work with the local communities, work local with the government, I really, truly like glad to see all of you here and your work here. I just like stop whatever I wrote here. That's just talk from my heart that I really appreciate your effort. And it's also glad to see you here and also your leadership, your thought, your action, especially your ownership. That's also not only like bring the community, make more resilience, and also bring me as one of the maybe little part of like the person who work on local resilience. That so proud and really happy like to be here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that heartfelt note. Finally, now to close today's event, I would like to invite Dr. Amod Mani Dikshit, Chairperson of ADRRN, to deliver closing address.
Wonderful. Good evening, Your Excellencies, Ms. Adik, Director Sharil, Sunisa, Madam, Ms. Sunisa, and ladies and gentlemen, distinguished awardees. It's a great honor to organize and to get endorsed by the audience and also by the excellencies of this work of recognition, the local leaders, the Asia Pacific for disaster resilience. This platform is critical, not just for recognizing the outstanding efforts of our local champions, but for shining the light on the essential role that community-led initiative play in shaping a more resilient future for us. While sitting there and listening to the endorsement from everybody, and also for your expressions, I constantly was reminded of the Nepalese poet laureate who said, if you want to serve the God, go to the last mile and serve the people at the last mile who are many times weak, neglected, and also sometimes insulted. I also remember two events. In 2005, the Gorkha earthquake, many responders came in, international, about more than 30 national responders. About 28,000 people were rescued from the earthquake debris. The international team, with their all good wishes, they could rescue about 30 people. The National Search and Rescue Agency people, they rescued about 2,000 people. But 80% of those people rescued were by the local neighbors. Just 2 weeks, about 2 weeks back, we had a tsunami in Nepal, and Kathmandu was cut off by the very extreme flood. Kathmandu was flooded and with boats plying on the streets. And it was intense rainfall and huge flood. There was early warning message given, but then it was not very effective. Our national, again, rescuers were mobilized, but in the crowd, one person, Sandik Lama, was, everybody knew how he jumped into the river and rescued many people. That shows how important is the work of the local community. We are coming to a close of this remarkable event, and I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the distinguished dignitaries for their presence and inspiring work. We like it. It is absolutely wonderful that you endorse the work of ADR and SEEDS, who organize, we together organize this, and thank you for accepting this recognition. Your ongoing support and commitment to the local leadership in disaster resilience are very, very valuable. To our local champions, my deepest appreciation goes out to each of you. Your dedication, resilience, and innovative approaches to disaster preparedness and response are very inspiring. I'm confident that the work we have recognized here today will inspire others to step forward and contribute to our shared goals. As we move onward, we must continue to support and amplify the voices of our local leaders, ensuring that they have the resources and platforms needed to carry out their vital work. We definitely can make Asia resilient against natural hazards. Together, let's continue on this path of progress, collaboration, and resilience. So I thank you again to everybody, including everybody present in the audience, who have contributed to making this event a success, to our champions, to the excellencies, and for being the driving force of this positive change. Let's keep the momentum going, and let's work together towards a safer, stronger, and more resilient future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dixit, for sharing those anecdotes, which definitely highlight the importance of an evening like this and the work that the local champions have been doing. And with this, we come to the end of the event. On behalf of ADRRN, SEEDS, and our distinguished guests, thank you for your presence at today's Asia Pacific Local Leaders Forum for Disaster Resilience. And once again, congratulations to the champions. A big round of applause for all of them, please. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Maybe please request all the dignitaries to come on stage to have a photograph with the champions. Thank you, everyone.